Welcome to First and Goal, the Saturday edition, presented by Pickett Sports. Matkafee and I breaking down the card. 3 games today. We got a bunch of bowl games. Matt, what's going on, man? There's nothing better than Saturday NFL. It's just a good feel right around the holidays. So got some fun games today. What's going on?
Not a lot, man. Watched a little bit of that third place game. Getting a few bets in here for the NFL, and
What was the final on that one?
I cashed my bet in the first half, so I turned it off. I had both teams score and over
Nice.
2.5, so game was over for me. Yeah, it was great. 2 goals, one from either team in the first 9 minutes. I was like, here we go, about time. I was joking. I'm like, I wish all the World Cup games could be played like third place was on the line because
Yeah.
really opens things up. But
2-1 Croatia final. So congratulations
2-1.
to Croatia on your third place
Yeah.
bronze medal finish here.
That's 2 podiums in a row for Croatia. I mean, they have a population about the size of Massachusetts, so like pretty impressive for such a small country to do so well on the world stage. But I know people are here to talk NFL, so we can. I'm excited. This first game's, and I think it might be sneaky good. I don't know why.
It's a fun one. It's one where I haven't been a big fan of Minnesota. I don't like their defense at all. But laying 3.5, man, it seems a little disrespectful. The thing that Minnesota does really poorly is defend the pass, and Indy's not going to really expose that. I know everybody moves the ball on Minnesota. So you got Minnesota laying 3.5. You got a total of 47. It's interesting. I'm looking around. The first half is 3 and the full game is 3.5. You usually don't see that split. It's a weird split. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you can read anything into that, but what are your initial thoughts here? Colts and the Vikings, just side total before we dive into some of the props.
So initial, like you said, the number is kind of disrespectful to Minnesota. So that tells me that the right side might be the Colts in the 3.5 here. I know that the Vikings will probably cover. That's what makes sense. Most people will say, look at the records and they're just general, impressions of these teams and say, wow, Minnesota at home, how do they not just kill the Colts? They're terrible. But like you mentioned, that defense is kind of their Achilles heel right now. So uh, when a team is this bad and is on the road and it's only 3.5, it tells me the books know something's up. I would not be shocked if Indy wins this game outright. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but what I've done, because I like a lot of these lines today, is I like Indy as a teaser. If you want to tease, and I just put this play in my channel, I teased all 3 games. An 8-point teaser, big old teaser, but it's even money. Colts up, Ravens up, and Bills down. And it gets me over. It's like 11.5 with Indy here, 10.5 with Baltimore, and then I'm catching a point with the Bills. But I think it'll be a close game. So I mean, 3.5 just is it's stinky because I think most people look at it and say, "Wow, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Cook, these guys, they're going to destroy the Colts." But yeah, I've heard there's some sharp money moving towards Indy too. Like I just don't know for sure. So I like the teased up angle.
I do like Minnesota. I just think this is a chance for them to win the division, which look, they haven't won the division in 5 years now. You're home. That's one of the better home crowds in the league. And that's one of the teams where I feel like they get the full 2.5, 3 points for home field advantage, where other teams are 1.5. And boy, if you're going to give them, let's say, 3 points for home field, you're saying the Vikings are only a half point better than Indy. I know they're not as good as their record. I know they're bad on defense, but man, it
Yeah.
seems a little disrespectful. And I know the Vikings don't blow anybody out. All of their games, all of their wins are 1-score wins. But I would expect the Vikings to win this game by a touchdown, 7 points, 10 points. I do think they win this game.
Yeah. I do too. Like, if you're saying just, hey, give me your money line,
Yeah.
I think they win. For all those reasons. Like they have the motivation, and they have all of these things. But then I'm also like, well, why the hell is it 3.5? Like, with this, I thought it'd be 6, or something like that. So, yeah, it's a weird one for sure. I think 3 and a hook. Oh man, that'll hurt when the Colts get like a backdoor touchdown,
Right.
and they maybe try to onside kick, and Minnesota covers it, and they win the game 27-24 or something like that, and you're like, and then maybe I'm giving the Colts too much credit to get 24 points, but like you mentioned, this defense for Minnesota, man, they're pretty bad. Mike White, I think, what do you have, 300 yards passing on
Oh
him?
yeah, everybody moves the ball.
The Colts, I mean, yeah, they're pretty limited, obviously, but I think they can somewhat they'll have a little bit of a pulse in this game. So, I to me, I could be talked into either side. That's why I just liked the angle of teasing the Colts up.
Before we get into the props, first touchdown score, things like that, do you think Jefferson, who's the favorite now to win Offensive Player of the Year, do you think it's his award to lose?
Uh, yes and no. Like I think they're going to try to get him 2,000 yards.
I agree.
They'll try to get him that. So there's still a month. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it could get stolen away from him if somebody just has a massive month here to end the season. You would think, again, like all these awards, it's you like to identify guys that the NFL pushes. The sports shows talk about. They want to show their highlights. You want the guy with your bet to be on the tongues of all the analysts on all the shows. So I like Jefferson now. I think it's a pretty good play. Um, you just wonder though if they wrap things up, like how much more production are they really going to get this guy? Like, yeah, I do think there's some statistical things there,
I think
landmarks.
they'll try to get him the record because I think
Yeah,
the Calvin Johnson record, I think, is 1963. And of course, that's in one fewer game. But I do
yeah,
think, because I remember, I think it was last year where he was going for the Vikings record and it was important to him. And somebody asked Zimmer about it. He's like, I don't care about that. I just care about winning the game. And it was important to Jefferson, but it wasn't important to Zimmer. So, these these younger guys, they tend to be more outspoken, like, hey, I want to get my numbers. I
sure.
want to get the record. So,
I
especially when
think
it's the all time record, I would think he would go for it.
I think so. And then, you got a coach who's a younger offensive
Right.
minded coach too. So, he's probably apt to try to, get these records for his guys. That's a good negotiating thing for him too. He's like, wow, look at my system. I got this guy to have the most receiving yards in NFL history. Like, that's a nice feather in your cap if you're a coach too. So,
And
yeah,
I think they will play throughout because I think the difference between 2 and 3 is enormous. They're not catching Philly for the 1 seed.
right.
Philly's 2.5 games up. They have the tiebreaker. There's just not enough time. Philly's going to be the one if unless Dallas caught them. Even the Vikings don't have the tiebreaker with Dallas, so the Vikings are not going to be the 1 seed.
Mhm.
But if you're the Vikings, you have to be the 2 seed because that means you play the 49ers in round 2 if chalk holds and
Yeah.
you're home, as opposed to having to go to San Francisco. They can't go to San Francisco and win. You got a chance. You would think maybe if the only chance you have is if you get Brock Purdy on the road in a playoff start, it's loud. So that home field in round 2, I think, is really important. So I think they'll probably end up playing throughout because they're only a game ahead of San Fran, and San Fran has the tiebreaker, so they're like half game out. So if they lose today, they're right behind San Fran. So you don't anticipate San Fran pulling away. You don't anticipate Minnesota pulling away. So that's sort of the game within the game in terms of will
Yeah.
Minnesota play the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think it's right there for him. So Jefferson, he's going to get his 7 to 10 targets, and so production should be there for him. As long as what's he need to average in these last four
I think
games? Like,
125. I think he's right on the dot at 1,500.
yeah, gosh, that's tough. He's going to need a monster game in one of these. I don't see it being today necessarily. I think Gilmore will kind of follow him around. I'm actually gave out Adam Thielen's receiving yards. FanDuel's hanging 48.5, and we're catching 4 yards line discrepancy between FanDuel and DraftKings. The
So
second
you're going over, just to clarify.
over, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to smooth over that. But yeah, Kenny Moore is the Colts' number 2 wide receiver. He is out, and they've got some issues there at corner anyway. I think their second unit also has a guy out. So it's looking like Isaiah Rodgers will probably line up with Thielen most of the time. And Thielen's, he's not Megatron, but he's 6'2", big body. This guy's 5'10". So with Gilmore kind of, and they may try to bracket Jefferson, things like that. I think Thielen can win these one-on-one matchups and clear a pretty low total, 48.5. I mean, That's 4 or 5 catches for him. Yeah, outside of the Jets game in the last 3, he's cleared this pretty comfortably too. We don't have to worry about bad weather or anything like that. So, uh, yeah, Cousins should be able to toss it around the yard. You would think, 250, 300 yards is not out of the question. I think for both quarterbacks. So, I felt Thielen was a good prop here, and I think there's value on the Colts side too. Of things, I think um, looking at some of these guys' receiving yards, they're pretty low. Pierce 41 and a half. Um, the tight ends like Granson 16 and a half. I mean, that's a catch, maybe 2 catches. Paris Campbell's around 40 yards. So pretty low totals. And if the game script goes the way you're thinking, where Minnesota maybe does win this by a touchdown or 10, Matt Ryan's props will probably be good. His passing attempts, his completions, his yards. Those things all fit with a game script of the Colts being behind and chasing some points. So um, I think it's a great game to attack the props. It's a lot to me. It's my favorite one. It's going to be cold and nasty in Cleveland, and it's cold and snowy in Buffalo. So like, get your props in here at lunchtime, and it may be something where some unders cash later in the day.
How about first touchdown? Cook the short shot here and pulling up the FanDuel odds. Cook plus 500. Jefferson right behind him plus 550, as is Taylor. So you got 3 guys grouped here plus 500 or so. And then you go Hawkinson's 10-1, Pittman and Thielen are 11-1, Campbell 16-1, Osborne 21-1. See if there's anything else worth noting here. Minnesota defense 27-1, Indy defense 37-1, Kirk 42-1, Matt Ryan 45-1. 2 guys who don't really scramble, but these are guys that have gotten in the end zone. I think both of them gotten in this year. So anything jump out at you? Anything worth a bet?
Well, every time I'm on Minnesota props, it's always funny because I'm usually targeting Jefferson or Cook or Thielen, and then it's like I'm texting you like, "Oh, Johnny Munt scored," Alexander Madison scored, So they have this wild thing where they're so I don't know what the right word would be.
There's some randomness.
Yeah, there is some randomness. They spread it around a little bit. Would it shock me if it's one of these guys like a Johnny Munt or a Alexander Madison? No, it wouldn't. But I think my favorite play is Thielen here, just for the reasons I gave. Like Gilmore, especially in that red zone where he has lost a step from his Patriot days, but he's still crafty, and you see it in these matchups against the Colts. Like they've tried to go at him. Like all these quarterbacks have tried to go at him, and he's really, really good in these red zone situations. So he just positions himself so well, gives these wide receivers no room. Thielen is he's so sneaky. He always finds a spot. I could see him catching one in the back of the end zone. So I'll go with him. What'd you say, 11-1?
11-1.
I like that value. I think I like his anytime touchdown too. I think he finds the end zone today. I really do. A lot of attention's on Jefferson, and rightfully so. He is the guy, but Thielen about plus 170 or so. I think that's worth a stab.
Yeah.
Again, it's outside of that Jets game where the Jets just are a different level defense to most defenses you see on a week to week basis. Like he's had a touchdown in the 2 other games. There's familiarity there. I like the matchup.
All right. I think we covered that game pretty well. A game you're familiar with, the Browns and the Ravens, a game I don't really have a lot on. I kind of want to stay away. Hey, if you want to tease the Ravens up to 8.5 as it is, Cleveland laying 2.5, total 38.5, which is low. Browns are minus 154 on the money line. Boy, I don't love this Ravens team on the road. They haven't been impressive. They've been squeaking out these wins. So I don't really want to back them. But on the other hand, should Cleveland be laying points to really anybody that's decent? I don't know about that. So I'll let you take it however you want to, whichever direction you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, perfect thing to tease the Ravens up here. The Browns aren't running away and hiding from them. The Ravens' game plan is going to be, like it is, run the ball. Getting Dobbins back is huge. The Browns have struggled to stop the run, so I think it's going to be a run-heavy game plan. Never pass up points. Roll Tucker out there, have him kick his field goals. Let's double check this price today. I made a mental note to check his field
Good
goals.
point.
Uh, um, so yeah, -130 for over 1.5. I mean, to
Sounds pretty
me,
good to me.
if they're putting it out there, I'm going to take it. This line has been earlier in the year. I mean, it was almost -$2 on Tucker here, and without Lamar Jackson, they're less likely to go for it on fourth down. They're less likely to take all these types of
Right.
chances. So they're less likely to be effective down in the red zone. All of these things to me make sense for Justin Tucker field goal. So I'll play his over 1.5 made field goals. I think like we talked about, tease the Ravens up because Watson he's using this last month to just get his legs back and get back into a rhythm. Um, I think their plan will be to line up and try to corral Nick Chubb. I think, and if I'm the Browns, now that we're out of it, like I'm saving Chubb. Like let's let Kareem Hunt's going to be gone after this year. Let Kareem Hunt have the last month of the season. Save Chubb's his legs, whatever statistical marks he needs to hit here the last month. Same thing. Let him get his numbers if he needs something to get a bonus in his contract. But I want to keep as much tread on Nick Chubb's tires as I possibly can. So um, I think I would stay away from Chubb today and maybe look at Hunt for that reason. I think David Njoku could have a big game. He normally shows up pretty big against the Ravens. It's just in division, he's a monster. Always shows up. So tough one today. I think both QBs get sacked a lot, probably too. You could play sacks. It's a low scoring game for me.
Under game, or is it under just too low?
I mean, I why not? What 38.5? Like, all right, let's think of a score line that gets us over this. You'd have to be
23, yeah,
yeah,
23
21
17.
20. Yeah, 20.
23-17 goes over 20. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you can get there. You can
Yeah,
definitely get there. It's
20.
low, 20-19.
Yeah, 2017 seems about like the ceiling for this game to me.
Yeah.
Much more likely it might be a 16-10 kind of a game. Like it's going to be a slugfest.
Ball on the ground, clock moving, just
Yep.
run.
Run. So, and these guys they'll take three. Stefanski, I mean, he was kind of aggressive last year, and he's kind of come back to the mean a little bit too. I don't know. I guess Jacoby, he just didn't have quite as much confidence. And the 4th and 1, he's rolling Jacoby out for a sneak. We did bring him in and have him throw a pass last time, which I thought would why are we overthinking it? This guy's like 90% on 1 yard sneaks, and let's have him air it out deep.
I missed that. I didn't see that. That was last week against
last
Cincy?
week against Cincy, yeah. And I mean, get Deshaun on a bootleg. I like Deshaun on the perimeter just as much as you bring in a cold Jacoby to make a throw. I don't know. Stefanski's he's losing some confidence in the Cleveland faithful. He wins Coach of the Year with Baker and Baker wins a playoff game and all this other stuff. And it's just that's how quick things are to turn. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's all in. They're all in for next year anyway. So I'm kind of comfortable fading my own team here. And if I get comfortably surprised, where hey, we get a win against Baltimore, great. I'll have an extra. I'll have an extra beer today to celebrate. But yeah, I don't think they're in a good position. I'm not laying points with them. I'll tell you that much. So I think Dobbins is a good target to get the first touchdown, anytime touchdown. And I like Tucker over 1.5 field goals. I'm pretty much the only guy I like on the Browns is Njoku today.
What are your thoughts on Watson? Is this just rust? Is he going to be fine? Is there a little concern, or is he all right?
I mean, I have no concern. To me, it's rust. He's been out of football so long. There's only so much you could do in practice and things like that, and he wasn't even allowed to be around the team for most of the season in practice. So, and you take it to the year before with Houston, he wasn't practicing and he wasn't around the team either. So it's not like riding a bike. the talent is there. Obviously, he's not far away from, like you mentioned on one of our last shows. Like they're up on the Chiefs, 3 scores, and it's he's a top 10 talent at the position, and his ceiling might be top 5 talent if he's right. So I like the move. Those types of players don't come around often, and it's worth taking a swing for here, especially the Brownies here, who since we haven't had a quarterback, uh, you know, since Bernie basically. Like we've had guys that have had decent seasons, but Bernie's the last guy that's really made the job his, and I think Watson's got a chance to be the guy for another decade or 12 years or something like that. And it was worth the move. I think the coaching staff needs to have a winning season next year, or they'll be gone. But
Wow,
I
it
like
goes quick, huh? The shine wears off quick with these guys. It's amazing.
it does, man. Stefanski's just he's the team has not performed well in crunch time. There's a lot of mental mistakes. The team's had poor discipline. Joe Woods, Kevin Stefanski, I think I would be okay if both of them were gone next year. I
I would think they would give Stefanski another year.
I think Stefanski gets another year. I think Woods is gone.
It all started with Stefanski when he punted against Kansas City with like 3 minutes left and he never saw the ball again, which drove me nuts. That's a game, man. You had a chance to go to the championship game. Mahomes got hurt. You had the ball.
Yeah.
And then you had a good running game. I think it was 4th and short. You give the ball back and you never see it again.
That between that, there was that punt, the fumble on the would have been touchdown. Yep.
Helmet to helmet.
And then Chad Henne gets loose and runs for 17 yards. Like you're just like, oh my gosh. Like,
and then KC goes for it on 4th and 1, and you didn't think they would, then they throw it to Hill. Yeah, that was a tough one.
It is a tough one for sure. So the talent is there. I like what Barry's done, the GM. He's assembled a really great roster. It's just a matter of it all kind of coming together and clicking, because this team, I think the Browns are the most talented team in the division. Cincy's right there too, but
I think I'd go with Cincy's roster. I think Cincy's got a great roster.
It's tough to say. Like I agree with you. It's close. I think in terms of offensive weapons, they're obviously ahead with like the wide receivers, but the line, Browns are probably man for man better across the starting line. Better tight end, better running back, and I don't know. Mixon's good. He's good, but he's not Nick Chubb. And then I don't know. We're splitting hairs a little bit, but I'd like to see the Brownies. We need a new defensive coordinator, and then we get the advantage of Watson having the full off season with the team, and really trying to mesh with Cooper and guys like that for next season. So.
Anything first touchdown, Chubb the short shot plus 550. Then you get Cooper 9-1, Andrews 10-1, Dobbins 10-1, and Njoku 11-1, Huntley 12-1. Man, they don't give you any bargains on these quarterbacks, especially the ones I know Huntley likes to run, but they've really shrunk the prices on all these guys. Edwards is 14-1, Kareem Hunt is 15-1, Watson's 18-1, only 18-1 on Watson. Come on, that aggravates me. What are your thoughts here? Anything first touchdown?
I would lean the Browns to get the first touchdown. We've scored a lot of first touchdowns this year, and it usually results in a loss. Like it's like this weird quirk where when we score first, we end up losing the game for some reason. But if on the Baltimore side, Dobbins is a good play for me, and I like Njoku for the Browns. I think those are two good targets. I think Dobbins, he's got a nose for the end zone here, and I think the Browns, we're going to struggle to stop the run. So I think it's a pretty strong play. Every time they're down in that territory, though, I'm going to be rooting for Justin Tucker field goals here. So that's why I probably would switch over to the Browns and go Njoku here.
First and Gold, presented by Pickett Sports, presented by Goal Boys. We got one more game to get to if anyone's interested. The college football game, Louisville's up 21-7 at the half. That game was scoreless, like, I don't know, end of the first quarter. Now we get 28 quick points. That game is in Fenway, so you get some fun environments here. Deion Branch is the Louisville head coach. I guess he's the interim coach. So a bunch of bowl games today. One more NFL game to get to. The Bills are at home in snowy Buffalo, laying 7 to Miami. I have a hard time believing Tua is going to play well in this weather against a good defense. We saw Miami have the heaters in LA last week. Now they're going to go to snowy Buffalo. Feel like Miami's been exposed a little bit. Feel like the league has figured them out. I like Buffalo here. I don't know about laying the 7. To me, this is a great and obvious teaser leg. So I'm gonna lay. I would lay it with the Buffalo, but I just think it's a great teaser leg. I could see the Bills winning this game and winning it very comfortably. What are your thoughts, Bills and Dolphins?
Yeah, I think so too. Like the cold is going to really hurt the Dolphins, who and the footing as well is going to be kind of bad. So these guys like Waddle and Hill, planning, cutting, doing all the things that they need to do. I know it's harder for the defense to kind of react, but there's a reason sprinters don't run on on snow. Like it hurts. And Tua's not been accurate on a lot of these, middle of the field throws. Like people have figured out they want to make him throw outside the numbers. These timing routes are kind of off. It's all about timing in this offense. They've moved away from running the ball for some reason. I guess because of alignment, injuries on the offensive line. Have dictated it, and with the running backs too. Mostert, he can't ever stay healthy. He's a talented guy, but yeah, the Bills are the play here for me. I've teased them down again on my 3-leg teaser here. Just it's an all-day teaser. I think it's the right play. Tua doesn't give me any confidence right now. He seems like his own confidence seems shot. And the Dolphins aren't stopping anybody on defense either. So I'm looking at this. I think Allen, Singletary, they run the ball. They run the ball well on the Dolphins here today. Pass when they need to. Maybe they air it out. I don't know. To me, it's a game where I don't see a 300-yard passing game out of Allen. I think it's much more of like a 225, but he gets 60, 70 yards rushing. That kind of a game script. And so looking at some of these receiving props, I was thinking about kind of taking some unders. I think they might be Diggs 71. I mean, that's there, it's built in. Tyreek Hill and Diggs are normally 80, 90 yards. They're down in the 70s. Waddle's normally around 60 or 70. He's down close to 50.
Yeah, and he hasn't done much the last couple of weeks. He got hurt. I think it was the San
Mhm.
Francisco game. He has done basically nothing the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think there is some value in potentially the tight end, like and guys like that, like Dawson Knox, his catches I don't like the price. It's minus 170, but like over 2.5 catches. I mean, that's a nice low amount. Screen passes to like Singletary. His is like 1.5, or James Cook 1.5. For the Dolphins, same kind of thing. You look at their running backs. I think they'll try to do creative things to get the guys involved, but yeah, I just don't see Tua pushing the ball downfield. So I tend to say under on these things. So I think the Bills keep everything in front of them, rally up and tackle type of a thing, and they win this thing kind of comfortably. I think they'll cover the 7, honestly.
I do
Uh,
too.
but I've got it on my teaser, so I'm not even going to worry. Just win the game, Buffalo.
I've
Hopefully,
seen some people that I respect betting wise lay alternative numbers with Buffalo minus 9.5, minus 13.5. I saw somebody
oh, a
lay
little
minus
pleaser, huh?
a little pleaser where you know what, this could get out of hand and this could no pun intended, this could snowball on Miami where if this is 14-0, this is 7-0, 14-0, 10-0 right away Buffalo, and you got to throw every down, and Tua just can't do it, and his ball's dying in the cold, in the wind. And Buffalo, it's not going to bother them. I mean, they played in this before. Remember against New England last year, they just scored every time. I could see one of these scenarios where Buffalo just trucks them, and they're home. They have a chance to clinch. This is, I don't know if it officially clinches the division, but this all but clinches the division if they win this game. So it's going to be this is a tough spot for Miami here. I remember going over these season win totals all year, and it was Miami. Oh, I like their schedule early, but then they had these 3 road games in a row: San Fran, the Chargers, the Bills, all on the road. Then they play the Packers at home when the Packers looked like a tougher game. And boy, it's really played out that way, because this has been a brutal stretch and tough for Miami. They still have to play the Jets, and they still have to play the Packers. And this has just been a stretch here that's really just derailed any chance of them winning the division, as we know.
Yes, yeah. We thought, hey, if Allen was really going to be hurt, we got a nice little price, and for a week or two it looked good, but Yeah, I mean, you sometimes you try to buy on news and stay ahead of things, and I think it was worth a shot.
It was.
We didn't. We knew it would be a tough sledding, but hey, if Josh Allen was out, then
And
obviously,
Cleveland had their chances to beat him. Detroit had their chances
yep,
to beat him. I mean, Buffalo really had plenty of chances. I don't know if that was before the Minnesota. It was before the Minnesota game. So Minnesota obviously did beat them. So yeah,
yeah,
Buffalo hasn't played great. That's the one thing that concerns me a little bit. Is like I'm very anti-Miami, and that's a lot of this pick. Buffalo hasn't been like ultra impressive like they were that first month of the season where they're killing everybody. They've been okay. They've been getting by. Good against New England where they pretty much dominated that game. They've been good. They haven't been great these last 6 weeks or so.
yeah. I think they're going to lean on the running game. Honestly, like I think the QB power and power option is a great way to attack this Miami defense. Uh, I I'm looking at Allen, Cook, and Singletary's rushing props, and I like them all to go over. Allen 46 and a half, Singletary. I was shopped these numbers. I'm looking at DraftKings up, things here, but 42 and a half for Singletary. James Cook's 25 and a half. James Cook, especially, if the Bills smash him like you think, they're going to let this guy get some burn. He's getting more and more involved in the offense. 25 and a half like fits the game script for me. He's a potential target. You can play these specialty markets, potential, touchdowns, like first we talk about all the time. We never talk about last touchdown scores.
Right.
The backups, like a James Cook to score the last touchdown makes
It's a good
sense.
angle.
Things like that, I mean, are ways to attack it, but I'm with you, man. I just feel like Tua's arm is gonna. You got a guy from Hawaii who played at Alabama. I know he said he saw snow when he was in the SEC, but like,
Small hands too.
yeah. Oh my gosh. And some of the guys too, like, had they never played in the snow. Like they draft some of these guys from down in the SEC and ACC a lot, and yeah, it's going to be nasty out there. A bad day to be a table in Buffalo, I
Yes.
think.
Or a domestic beer.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
How
The
about first touchdown?
first
Diggs
touchdown.
6-1 for Diggs, 850 for Allen, Hill 9-1, Mostert plus 950.
Mm-hmm.
So is Wilson at plus 950. Boy, you got so many guys 10-1 or shorter.
Yeah.
They really scalped us on these prices. It drives me nuts. Gabe
Kind of
Davis
gross.
10-1, Knox 12-1, James Cook 12-1, Waddle 16-1. It's actually not terrible for how good he was, up
Yeah.
until a couple weeks ago. Anything jump out to you first touchdown?
I've seen somebody talk about Cole Beasley got re-signed to the team. Do they bring him? He never caught touchdowns for him last year. What
Right.
are they going to do? Have him catch a touchdown this time? I'm not sure. Down the board, I mean, there's a little bit, but to me, I would lean either Singletary, Knox, or Allen. I think they get in kind of a jumbo set down there and they just run them over. It it makes too much sense for me. A little QB power or QB option, and so that could be Singletary can catch the ball out of the backfield too. So like that's why I like the angle of him to get one. They'll even run Knox on those little like Kansas City Chief style. Travis Kelsey. They'll hook him inside, little shovel pass. I think Knox is a good look for one. He'll be playing probably with no sleeves. So he's one of those crazy
For
guys
sure.
that wants to show how tough he is by not playing
And I
with a
don't think it's overly cold there, right? It's in the 20s. It's not like that New England game where it was like 0 degrees, right?
Yeah,
Let me check the
I
weather.
mean
That's
it's
probably
cold,
important.
dude. I'd be freezing out there, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's not like a 0 degree. We're getting a kind of a cold snap here in the Midwest. I wanted to check that Cleveland weather report. I think it might be colder in Cleveland today than it is in Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean it's in the 30s. It's 33. I mean, I guess it's snow. There's snow on the ground because they showed the field and it looks freezing because there's so much snow on the ground. Well, now I'm seeing
by
feels like
by
22 with the wind chill, 13-mile-an-hour winds, which isn't crazy. There was some snow, so
and
uh,
then by 8 o'clock,
by eight
the
o'clock,
snow's down. It's probably going to drop uh, pretty significantly.
right?
Yeah. So I mean, looking at Yeah, it'll be in the low 30s in Cleveland game time, potentially like snow as well. So I think that helps the under in these late games. I don't see Buffalo needing to go score 40 points. I think 20 points wins you this game. Like, and so 43 and a half. I heard some people saying like some sharp money was on the over because the public just auto
Usually
see
what
that.
happens with the over, yeah, the over in these snow games, people and wait as long as possible because people just say see the snow, they blindly bet the under, then that line just ticks down, and then before the game you come in on the over late, and yeah, you get more offense, I think, than people realize on these snow games over. Unless it's the wind or unless it's like 2 feet of snow, which we've seen before. I think there was a Bills Browns game like 5 years ago where people couldn't even run it. I think it went to overtime. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, and the Bills they had elicited fans to come, and they were coming and shoveling and bringing their snow plows
Yes.
up. Oh yeah, I mean it's possible that the Bills can do it. I don't see the Dolphins scoring a lot, so maybe an angle is the Dolphins team
Team
total
total under.
under. Yeah,
How about Buffalo defense first touchdown 27-1 if we think Tua can't handle the weather?
man, that's that's tempting. I will say. He's been uh, turning the ball over here. Like the inaccuracy on these some of these throws. It wouldn't surprise me if they yanked one for a pick six. But Buffalo, I say this on almost all every week we cover a Bills game. It's like they almost always take the ball first. They want they know they're the better team, and they're like, hey, we are going to go score and now put you on the back, your heels. I love that aggressive mentality, and I think that will fit today too. I think they would take the ball and they'll want to get out there as soon as they can and make to a play from behind if possible. So if the Dolphins have any chance, they're going to have to establish the run game and really get Buffalo moving laterally and have
Not their game, like you mentioned. That is not their game.
yeah, yeah. So get them playing from behind, and their total touchdowns are 1.5. The Dolphins here, their total points is 17.5 with the underjuiced. That makes sense to me. I don't see them scoring 20 points today, so I might be comfortable going under 17.5 on the Dolphins here.
Getting excited for these games, man. We got 15 minutes or so to kick off, so it's a great day, man. This is just a great
for
sports day
sure.
with all the bowl games, NFL. I mean, this is just as good as it gets. Anything else on this one before we wrap up?
No, I think that pretty well covers it. Yeah, I think there's potential value, like I mentioned, in these guys. The running game for the Bills, that's where I'm going to attack some player props. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Um, Tua under maybe on some of his stuff. I know it's probably already, the lines moved down a little bit, but 230.5. I mean, gosh, it's like for all the struggles that we've talked about, like that's going to be a lot. Like he's not averaging, he's not going to be connecting on these downfield throws. I guess the danger is always Tyreek Hill, turns a
Of
5 yard
course.
play into a 60-yard play. But um, I like the under. The under's juiced. 230 seems like a lot. I don't think either quarterback throws for 230 today. I think potentially go unders on Tua too.
So
Plus,
just to
if he gets
recap,
hurt,
yeah,
you're out of there too. So
of
yeah,
course. And I don't think they would bench him, but boy, he's been that bad the past couple of weeks where, if you had a better backup and Bridgewater hasn't looked good in limited time, you actually think about, man, maybe we have to get this guy out of here. He's been that bad the past couple of weeks, but I don't think they would do that, but you never know.
yeah,
So just to recap, I am on the Vikings, I'm on the Bills, and I'm going to join you on the Tucker over 1.5 field goals. Do you want to give a quick recap of what you have?
yeah. So Thielen over 48.5 yards. That number can be found on FanDuel. I like that over. I like a 3-team 8-point teaser. I know that's like ludicrous to do, but you get even money on that at FanDuel. I'm taking the Colts up, the Bills down, and I'm taking the Ravens up.
So the dogs on the first two games, and then the Bills
Yep,
is the favorite on the last game.
yep, exactly. So catching 11.5 with the Colts, 10.5 with the Ravens, and catching a point with the Bills here. I like that. I can kind of sit back and pick spots that I can see live. I will look for some things and obviously notify depending on how these games are looking. But yeah, I think there is good value. I think my favorite touchdown scorer of the day is going to be Dobbins. I think he's got a great chance to score today. Uh, Maybe a little running back parlay. You play Dalvin Cook, Dobbins, and then maybe look at Singletary in the late game. I think that could be a winner as well. But yeah, well, I'm excited. We're nearing kickoff here.
How about World Cup quickly? Anything in World Cup? If you had nothing in pocket, how would you
Yeah.
attack tomorrow? Draw
Uh,
somebody you like?
Yeah, so public sentiment is obviously going to be behind Messi in Argentina. I think that's you're getting value on France at this price, but I think a draw, 90-minute draw, is a good play. You can right now you could take either team to win in penalties at around 4.5, 5-1. I think that's a great value as well. These teams are very very close, and usually World Cup finals are pretty cagey. Both teams in the semifinals played counterattacking football, 40% possessions. Somebody's going to have to take the impetus in this game, and so that's what the chess match tactically is going to be: is who's gonna come out, who's going to have the ball. I would suspect it'd be Argentina, which plays into France's hands of wanting to play on the counter, and the fact that they were defending champs, they have the experience here. I think Messi's the best player, and he gets a good whistle. I'm hoping for a good competitive final. 1-1, and after 90 minutes makes a lot of sense to me. And I see this thing kind of going to penalties.
How about bowl games? Anything catch your eye for any of these bowl games today, this weekend?
No, I don't think so. I didn't do a deep dive into who's playing and who's not. I want to double check the slate real quick just to make
We
sure
got
I'm not talking about a
Oregon
game.
State, Florida.
Right.
Oregon State's like laying 7.5 now. It was 10. Bounced back and forth. It opened 6.5. Bet up to 10. Florida's taking some money, so we're like 7.5, 8 on that one.
Yeah.
We get Fresno, Washington. Everybody loves Fresno here. It's up to
Everybody's on Fresno. That's
everybody.
yeah. Fresno's been a wagon, man. They're a fun team to root for because they have the better quarterback.
I was
I still
surprised. I saw McShay's mock draft, and he's got his
yeah,
top 10 quarterbacks. He's got Hainer as the 10th. I was surprised. I think he's
Tanner,
good.
yeah, I think he's good too. Like I was a fan last year. I'm trying to remember the game where he took the team just on his back. I would need to double check what game that was. It was, let's see, 2000. What? I'm looking this game up because it was when I was like, yes, this is the. I think it might have been the Nevada game, potentially. I don't know. Looking back, I'm trying to find out exactly which one it was, but yeah, he's just tough as nails, man. He makes big throws. I guess he's just maybe a little undersized for the pro game, but yeah, I think that's a good play. Fresno State, if you want to jump on them, I'm happy to do that too. Washington State, they're not going to give you much confidence. They were a good ATS, but they're basically a 500 team this year. So
Worries me that everybody's on Fresno, though. Really worries me.
yeah, you're right. And why is it 4.5 if everybody's on them, right?
Yeah.
When it get up to 6, 7, uh, so there is something there. Maybe, I mean, how many of these guys would? I don't even know if there would be anybody. Nah, yeah, I think it's the right side. Fresno State. I mean, Washington State it's a two teams in opposite directions here. Washington State started hot and then finished, falling flat, and Fresno State started flat and then finished hot. So I think that's the right side. If you're really getting nervous about the number, maybe you just take them, pair them up with the Bills. You know what I mean? Maybe do money line kind of parlay or something like that. I don't know. Just people do some degenerate stuff. I don't fault them. Looking at the rest of the slate today, I mean, how do you not like Boise's going to be at home in that game, right? Like that's going
Yeah,
to
I like the over there. I think there's going to be a million points. The overs haven't done well.
yeah,
They went 0-2 yesterday, but I think Boise absolutely lights up North Texas. North Texas
yeah.
gave up, I think, 57 to UNLV. They gave up 31 to HBU, who I don't even know who HBU is. They got 48 to SMU, and Boise, I think, will just rip them on, on the ground game. And you
Yeah.
can throw the ball on Boise. So North Texas got a good offense. That to me, that one's like 48-31. That's going to be a
Okay.
high scoring game. So I
62.
like that one.
Yeah. I
What's
mean,
it up to?
I see 62 right now.
Wow, it was 59 and a half. Yes, just like late last night. So that
Yeah.
really got hit.
Yeah. It's people are flying in on the over here. And even at 62, I'm seeing like, most simulations are, kind of 65, 68 points, something like that. So
Yeah.
you're probably right. And Boise State, I mean, they're going to have their home crowd there just cheering them on. They're going to want to keep people entertained. I don't know what the weather is like in Boise today, but yeah, that I guess that would make sense. Yeah, that'd be it for me in terms of the college slate. Nothing really else is really standing out to me. So
All
yeah,
right. That'll do it then.
cool.
First and goal, Pickett Sports, Matt McAfee will be back tomorrow. I think it'll be
Yeah,
11 a.m. Eastern. We'll tweet it out and confirm.
play of the day. Do we go back to Justin Tucker as the Pickett
Absolutely.
play of the day? Okay,
Pickett
so
play of the day has to be Tucker.
yep. Justin Tucker over 1.5 made field goals was our play of the day last week. It cashed first half, I believe, and maybe we get another first half cash. I think we're both happy with that. We're both on that one, so that'll be our play of the day.
First and goal, Pickett Sports, Goal Boys. We'll be back tomorrow. I think 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll tweet out to confirm it, but good luck with all your plays. Enjoy the games. It's an awesome sports day. So see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks, Matt.
Be well. Thanks.